As a female foreigner, I found myself in the vibrant city of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with a group of friends for a night of revelry. The warm night air wrapped around us as we laughed, danced, and enjoyed the lively atmosphere of a Brazilian party. The rhythmic beats of samba music pulsed through the air, and the energy was infectious. Our spirits were high, fueled by the thrill of being in a foreign land and the drinks that flowed freely. The party seemed to blur into a haze of lights and music, and before I knew it, the clock struck midnight. As the festivities began to wind down, my friends and I decided to head back to the hotel we had booked. The streets were dimly lit, and the intoxicating mix of alcohol and excitement left us feeling a bit giddy. Just as we turned a corner onto a quiet side street, a tall, skinny man in his mid-30s came into view. He was walking alone, his gaze fixed on the ground. But within moments, his intentions became disturbingly clear. With a sudden shocking boldness, he reached out and grabbed the butt of one of my friends. A mixture of shock, anger, and fear coursed through us. How could anyone think such behavior was acceptable? Infuriated, we confronted him, demanding an explanation for his actions. He looked up at us, his eyes cold and indifferent, and then, with an unnerving nonchalance, he lifted his shirt, revealing a menacing black object tucked into his jeans. It was a Glock, and its presence sent shivers down our spines. Though his words were in Portuguese, the message was universal. His body language spoke of greed and danger, demanding our money, our purses, anything of value. Panic swelled within us as we realized we were facing an armed robber, thousands of miles away from the safety of our homes. Caught in a dangerous dilemma, we were paralyzed by fear and disbelief. One of my friends couldn't hold back her tears, her emotions giving voice to the terror we all felt. The reality of the situation became starkly clear. We were utterly vulnerable, facing the cold barrel of a gun in the hands of a stranger. With trembling hands and racing hearts, we complied with his demands. Our purses containing our money, phones, and identification were quickly handed over. It was a surreal experience, as if we were watching ourselves from outside our bodies, unable to comprehend the chain of events that had unfolded so rapidly. As the man retreated into the shadows, disappearing into the night with our belongings, a profound sense of violation settled over us. We were left standing there, shaken and humiliated, robbed not only of our possessions, but also of our sense of security. In the aftermath of that harrowing night, our perspectives shifted. The veil of invincibility that comes with youth in a foreign backdrop was abruptly lifted. We realized the importance of being cautious and vigilant, especially in unfamiliar territory. The lesson was etched into our minds. Partying carelessly in a foreign country, especially at night, comes with risks that should never be underestimated. From that point forward, we vowed to take precautions whenever we traveled. We acknowledged the need for local knowledge and guidance, and we embraced the idea of being accompanied by tour guides or trustworthy individuals who knew the lay of the land. Our naive assumption that adventure could be without consequences had been shattered, replaced by a newfound understanding of the importance of personal safety. That night in Brazil became a pivotal moment in our lives. It was a harsh reminder that the world, while full of wonder, could also be perilous. We carried the weight of that experience with us, not only as a cautionary tale, but also as a testament to our resilience and ability to adapt in the face of adversity. I was living in Jonesboro, Arkansas at the time, and my life seemed to take an unsettling turn when I began dating a guy named Jason. Everything started off fine, but as time went on, I began to notice disturbing behaviors in him. He would become possessive, jealous, and his temper would flare up over the smallest things. Eventually, I decided to break things off and move on. After ending things with Jason, I started seeing someone new, Mark. He was everything I could have hoped for. Caring, understanding, and respectful. However, it seemed that my past with Jason wasn't ready to let go. He began stalking me and my new boyfriend, showing up unexpectedly and sending creepy messages. It was unnerving, to say the least. One evening, when I returned home from work, my heart sank as I saw a chilling sight. There, on my doorstep, was a letter written in blood. My name, Emily, was scrawled across it, and the message simply read, "I miss you." The fear that had been building up inside me escalated to an entirely new level. My hands trembled as I unlocked the door and entered my house. Upon entering my bedroom, a horrifying scene unfolded before me. An axe and a box of chocolates were laid out on my bed. The juxtaposition of these items was eerie and disturbing. As I turned around, hoping to flee from this nightmare, I was met with Jason's haunting presence. His face twisted into a creepy smile. He uttered the words, "Happy Valentine's." My heart raced as he grabbed my arms with a vice-like grip. Panic surged through me, but a surge of adrenaline allowed me to react. With all the strength I could muster, I kicked him square in the groin. A guttural scream escaped his lips as he doubled over in agony. It was a moment of triumph amidst the terror. Seizing my chance, I managed to break free from his grasp. My instincts kicked in, and I dashed for the door. As I fled down the hallway, I could feel his presence behind me. Turning the corner, I reached for my phone and dialed 911, the sounds of my own heavy breathing filling my ears. The police arrived promptly, their flashing lights casting an eerie glow over the scene. Jason was apprehended, his twisted smile now replaced by a look of rage and defeat. He was charged with trespassing, and finally, I felt a glimmer of relief. But that relief was short-lived. Years later, a chilling headline graced the news. Jason, the man who had tormented my life, was now facing charges for the murder of an elderly individual at a local bar. The shock of seeing his face on the television screen once again sent shivers down my spine. The darkness within him had escalated to an unimaginable level. As the legal proceedings unfolded, Jason was ultimately sentenced to prison. The mere thought of his presence behind bars brought a strange sense of closure. However, my unease persisted, especially as news surfaced that he had been transferred to a high-security correctional facility. The knowledge that he was still out there, even behind bars, was a constant source of anxiety. Looking back on that incident, I'm reminded of the fragility of life and the unpredictable turns it can take. The scars left by Jason's actions remain, a constant reminder of the terror I endured. But in the midst of the darkness, I found strength within myself, and the unwavering support of loved ones helped me move forward, step by step, toward a brighter and safer future.
Miguel, a janitor at a high school in Ecuador, was cleaning the building one late night. As he worked his way down the deserted hallways, an unsettling feeling crept in. Eerie sounds echoed through the emptiness, making him jump at every creak and groan. Curiosity, tinged with trepidation, led him to investigate a particularly loud noise coming from one of the classrooms. With a deep breath, Miguel pushed open the creaky door. A blood-curdling sight awaited him. In the dim light, a woman stood, with her head tucked grotesquely under her arm. Terror coursed through him. He flung his mop across the room and bolted out of the classroom, his heart hammering in his chest. He sprinted out of the school, adrenaline pumping through his veins. He didn't dare look back until he reached his bicycle. Mounting it, he pedaled furiously, glancing back every few seconds. In the distance, under the sparse streetlights, he swore he could see the figure chasing him. Panic fueled his speed. He pushed himself to the limit, the deserted streets blurring past him. Finally, he spotted a house with welcoming lights. Without a second thought, he flung his bike down and pounded on the door, screaming for help. A young man in his 20s, startled awake, answered the door, shotgun in hand. His father, a man in his 50s, emerged soon after. Miguel, babbling incoherently, blurted out his terrifying experience at the school. The kind family ushered him inside, calming him down and assuring him he was safe. Exhausted and shaken, Miguel spent the night at their home. In the light of day, Miguel rode back home, his encounter fresh in his mind. He recounted the whole story to his wife. and they both agreed on one thing. He wouldn't be going back to that school as a janitor. This story serves as a reminder. Always ask questions and do your research before accepting a job, especially one in an unfamiliar place with a history you don't know. You never know what you might encounter in the dark. Thanks for joining us on Fright Scream. Remember, for more chills, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Until next time, sleep tight, if you dare.